Hi guys, welcome back to Finpact. Today I want to talk about Polkadot. So when Bitcoin recently had that retracement and reached around $41,000, we've seen some of the alts follow. And Polkadot has shown a 25% increase in the last 7 days. Now, why has this happened? Where is Polkadot's price going? I'm very bullish on Polkadot in the long run. There has been some significant fundamental news for Polkadot where they have been rolling out their parachains. Now, this is crucial in Polkadot being a full-fledged consensus mechanism. Now, going on to CoinMarketCap, last week we saw almost a 25% increase in the price of Bitcoin in the 7-day chart. Now, this week, it's only been up around 1.75% and it has corrected in the 24-hour chart by minus 2.47. However, if we go down to the rest of the alts, Polkadot has followed. So usually the alts follow a little bit delayed to what Bitcoin does, also what Ethereum does, but more so what Bitcoin does, because that's the main leader in the cryptocurrency market. It's almost like Bitcoin is my measure of confidence people have in cryptocurrencies. So Polkadot has shown a 25.83% increase in the last 7 days. This is quite significant compared to some of the other alts where XRP is 14.19%, Cardano is down 0.33%, BNB is up 5.24%. So Polkadot's increase is quite significant. So if we go onto the Polkadot chart, the current price for Polkadot is $18.60. This is down 5.17% in the last 24 hours. Now, there are a few things that can happen. So now, whether this is the start of a new bull market, we don't know, or if this is a dead cat bounce. Now, if this is a dead cat bounce and this increase to the upside is more of a false alarm, and then it would head back to the downside and we'd enter a pretty much bearish market. So a dead cat bounce can be quite misleading where we see sudden increases like 25% compared to what we were seeing, which were major downward trends and it trading, to be honest, to the lowest point we saw around here at around $10.96 compared to its all-time high, which was pretty much when we saw most of the alts smash through their all-time highs, which was around May 15th, $48.68. So right now we are at $18.60. So it could either go downwards or we could see it go to the upside because there's some huge fundamental news coming around in cryptos. Ethereum is going to potentially have huge network upgrades with EIP 1559, which will address its exorbitant fees and its slow transaction speeds. But we also have the Parachain Rollout for Polkadot, which is incredibly huge for it to be a full-fledged proof of stake mechanism. They've explained this on their website. So the current phase is the Parachain Rollout. So if we want to find out more, parachains are the last piece of core functionality to be delivered as outlined in the Polkadot white paper and will allow Polkadot to realize its scalable multi-chain architecture. This is the final piece of the puzzle for Polkadot. A lot of cryptos are based on speculation on what they can be, but when they are a full-fledged functioning product, that's when we will see the main price rallies. But that will also depend on the rest of the bull market continuing. So that will depend on Bitcoin or Ethereum, smashing past their previous all-time highs. Because overall, there is a lot of fear in the market right now, which is why people are not necessarily buying as heavily as they were in the bull run. But actually, this is the time to buy because this is when we will see discounts. Because when these functionalities get adopted and we get back into a bull market, whether it's at the end of the year or later on, that's when we will see major price rallies for those that have already well established their cryptocurrency. So after a period of testing and optimization and auditing, the parachains will be ready for launch on Polkadot and can be enabled via on-chain governance. Once the parachains are live, the community will determine which additional features and network upgrades should be added over time. So here are some of their parachains they've got. They've got the testnet rollout, which is the parachain functionality, which will roll out first for testing and bug fixing on parachain testnets like Rococo. And then we have the next parachain, which is the current stage that we're at, which is the Kusama rollout and the slot auctions. So as a live network with economic incentives, Kusama will serve as an additional proving ground for parachains, allowing the community to observe network effects and conduct further testing and optimizations. So the Kusama governance will allow people to vote to enable parachain functionality via runtime upgrade. So on Polkadot's Twitter, they've given us an indication on this. So they've said on May 17th, Polkadot's parachains launch is expected to begin once two things have happened. A full external audit is completed And the second is the Kusama network executes at least one successful auction involving crowd loans and hosting at least one functional parachain. So the Kusama network has given a bit of a timeline as to how this will work and how it will lead to the governance voting when the shell parachain is deployed. So because of the technicalities behind parachains, I like to think of them as a blockchain. There's no specific need for them to actually be blockchains, but I like to think of them as parachains as parallel chains that run parallel to the relay chain. So this diagram explains it quite well. So this is the relay chain. We have the validators here, then we have the parachain, and then finally we have the collators. So the role of the collator node is to maintain a full node of parachain. So it retains all the necessary information of the parachain and produces new block candidates to pass to the relay chain validators for verification and inclusion in the shared state of Polkadot. So this will pass through the parachain, and then these validators will basically verify the information until it goes to the relay chain. It's kind of like a blockchain mechanism, to be absolutely honest. So also look at each parachain rollout as parachain economies. So parachain economies could have their own native token even. So parachains have schemes such as proof of stakes, and these are used to select the validator in order to handle the validation and finalization. And parachains will not be required to do either of those things. So Polkadot itself is not actually very particular on what the parachain can implement. So it's down to that parachain to decide whether they want their own staking token, which is great for us as investors because then we can stake our tokens and get extra rewards for holding those tokens. Basically, Polkadot is building its own native network in which people can build tokens on top of the different parachains. It's giving people the flexibility and ease to choose. And the best part is that Polkadot's parachains enable cross-chain functionality. So different blocks can communicate with other blocks from the different parachains. So back to the concept of parachain slot acquisition, I mentioned the auctions. Now there are 3 different types of parachains, so they will fall under these 3 brackets. So the common good parachains are allocated by Polkadot's on-chain governance system, and they're pretty much good for the network. They have bridges to other networks or chains, and they're usually considered system level chains or public utility chains. Then we have the auction granted parachains, and they're granted in a permissionless auction, and these can be kind of like a crowdfunding way of buying them. So they use the crowd loan functionality to source them from the community. And then we have parathreads, which have the same API as parachains, but they're scheduled for execution as a pay-as-you-go basis with an auction function for each block. So we're at the current stage, which I mentioned is the Kusama rollout. Then we have the further Polkadot rollout and slot auctions, which is what we just described there, which is the auction of choosing the winning parachain that will be deployed to the network at the beginning of its lease period. So that's a huge development that's underway for Polkadot. And I think this can be key in increasing the Polkadot price in the long run. Again, remember, it depends on the bull market sentiment. I believe that there are good cryptos, but even if there is good fundamental news, it always depends on how the overall crypto market sentiment is. If you look at around March time, people were buying cryptos, people were rallying up the prices. We saw all-time highs being smashed. Now, because of the crash, people are scared. And because people are scared, we're seeing huge discounts across the board in the crypto market. So in my non-financial advisor opinion, I think this is the right time to buy. You know, dollar cost averaging is a great way of buying different cryptocurrencies rather than, going all in at a market top and then seeing a crash and seeing your portfolio absolutely bleed. I found this article quite interesting because Polkadot is kind of described as an Ethereum killer. Not necessarily in this article, but this article supports that notion, which is that Polkadot, Vitalik's nightmare or blockchain dream come true. People tend to draw comparisons with Ethereum. My previous video today was how Cardano is an Ethereum killer and how, they have faster transaction speeds and they're more of a choice that people want to now use because the fees are lower, transaction speeds are faster, and the actual network has gone through vigorous testing before they have gone and adopted their blockchain and their different eras. But it's also key to look at how Polkadot compares to Ethereum. And this article on Bitcoin.com says that Polkadot and Ethereum are entering the final stretch of the runway for chain supremacy. So the coming year is big for both. Ethereum is going to be rolling out those improvements with EIP 1559 to reduce the fees, increase the transaction speeds, and therefore it will join the proof of stake beacon chain. So therefore the current Ethereum main chain will join the proof of stake beacon chain. And at this point, Ethereum will finally abandon its proof of work consensus and shift entirely to proof of stake. More upgrades are expected to follow, whereas for Polkadot, their timeline is different. So they are now set to reach the biggest milestone before Ethereum's merge takes place. So before that happens, Polkadot is going to be, rolling out their Parachain auctions, which we covered earlier in this video. Now, this will only take place, like I mentioned in the tweet, when the audit takes place and when a successful auction takes place involving crowd loans and hosting at least one functional Parachain. So that should be achieved faster than we expect Ethereum to get on board with their EIP 1559 upgrades. So that means we can actually see Polkadot being fully operational and supporting lots of use cases by the end of this year. And if we re-enter the bull run by the end of this year, then the prices will rally and surpass their previous all-time highs. That's why when we're seeing such low prices, it's the best time to enter. It's obviously the time that people are most afraid to enter, but that's the thing about investing. The psychology behind investing is that when there's a bull run and everyone's talking about it, you feel less afraid and you want to buy in. But that's when you buy in at high prices. But when people are scared and prices are low, that's when you get such good discounts. And therefore, when the prices do increase and you see temporary dips when the prices are higher up, you're less affected because you got in a lot earlier. It's like risk and reward in economics. Right now it's riskier to buy anything because we don't know if it's going to go down or up. Then we will see higher rewards because we're taking the risk now. And if you believe in the fundamentals of crypto, then you will see those rewards later, as long as you have a long-term time horizon. I believe that Polkadot has definitely potential to reach around this region here. That would be around $200 in the future, but only if the bull market continues or whenever the bull market continues later. But as of now, we have two things that can happen. As I said earlier, it can either go to the moon, as we say, or it can fall further down. I think it's looking to be more like a dead cat bounce if the crypto market doesn't recover fast enough. But if it does, then definitely we'll see it surpass its all-time highs. So guys, what do you guys think of Polkadot? Where do you think the price is going? Also, I have a Patreon where I post what I buy and sell in real time. I hope you guys can find that useful because I post exactly which trades I make, my overall market sentiment, and there's a lot of one-on-one support with me. Depending on which tier you select. So definitely check that out. I also have a link down below for WEBULL where you can get 2 free stocks worth up to $2,000 when you invest your first $100. So don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to my channel as I make new videos every single week on personal finance, cryptos, investing, stock markets, you name it. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.